Welcome back to Mom and Buddy. Today we are going to talk about the Benchmark Slide Stainer manufactured by Ventana. The slide stainer consists of three different components. One is the computer, which we're not going to show here. It's just an ordinary desktop computer. The other is the fluidic module. On top of that, of course, with the covers on, sits the slide staining module. First of all, on top of here sits a big holder for the reagents. There is two different drive motors to this. Both motors go to a belt, and it drives your reagents around in a circle. Right above here is a dispenser. It's a pneumatic dispenser and simply a solenoid, which when the reagent comes over the slide that it wants to put a reagent on, it simply comes down and pushes out a sample. Also, you notice that there's a slot for the barcode reader. The barcode reader reads both the reagent that sits on top into the carousel here, and also reads the slides on the slide carousel. I'm going to push the front, lower the lid, and we're going to raise it. Underneath here is the major working components of the system. Of course, you've got this bottom carousel, which is where the slides go. Each one of these are numbered, and the slide goes, of course, across here. These are heaters. Each heater is independent. When it comes electronic, they kind of do them in groups of 4. However, these are very easily replaced simply by 2 screws in the front, take it out, and the cable pulls right off. It's pretty straightforward. But the carousel moves the slides into the positions to carry out whatever step is required to get a good stain. In the back here, you're going to see the different stations. And there's 2 stations out front, and actually one right here in the back. Way in the back, you've got a module with solenoids on it. Underneath there, you'll see a little block where a lot of your reagent tubings go to. Again, I will get into detail a little more here shortly. On top of that, you got an I/O board that controls all of these solenoids. You can't see that well. Again, we've got this broken down, so you'll be able to see it at a later time. You've got the barcode reader. You've got the motor back here, which is what turns the lower carousel. And you've got a motor up in here that you can't see that turns the upper carousel. Right here is a detector that determines what reagent. It actually goes to a home spot, and from that spot it can step it through so that the proper reagent is delivered to the slide. You have a microprocessor control board right in the back here. Now on to the back. It's relatively simple. On-off switch. Of course, you've got 2 fuses in here. The power module. Right here is your power module. A few screws, that whole assembly pops out. Fairly easy. Input and output. Input comes in down here, and the output down here. Notice this is where all your reagents and so forth come into it. Let's spend a quick second on the power supply. It's right inside here. Here again, you can see that it's simple. 3 wires in, 2 set of wires out. Pretty straightforward. Again, screws take it right out, and the outer case pops right off. No fans that I can see, and I've never done any work inside the power module at all. Let's take a little more of an in-depth look at the slide staining module. What I've done is I've taken the assembly apart, and we're kind of going to do this a little different than I've done in my past videos, mainly because of how enclosed this system is. What you see here is the motor that drives your slide carousel around. You see down here, you see these are magnets, 2 of them. When they go over, they hit a switch to this detector, and that's what tells the unit what position the slides are in, 1 through 24. This is the assemblies that I've taken out. You've got the module that holds all your slides. Again, each one of these come off. You've got what's called the smart carousel board. We'll talk a little more in depth later on about that board. Number one thing from my experience that goes bad with it. That's why I have this assembly out and tested like I do. This is the waste chamber. It sits right on here. The waste, once it pours onto the slide, goes into this, and it actually sits like this and goes out through that drain right through here, out to the waste bottle that's underneath the unit. By the way, for preventive maintenance, that needs to be cleaned out because you will find that clogs up once in a while. So essentially, this goes on top of here. Like so. On top of that goes your carousel. And it's very easy to take this off. It's not a very complicated unit as far as that goes. It goes relatively on and off fairly easy. It's essentially 4 screws. They're 4 big screws, by the way, not the little ones. And that's what you have. That bottom chain drives the slides around. Now we're going to take this back off. I'm just giving you a picture of it. What I want to show you is this is a side assembly that goes on here and holds the waste shroud in place. Underneath there you're going to find two bolts. That's the sensor to determine if you get too much reagent and waste into this bowl here. Essentially they short out and send a signal out. The key thing is they're just bolts, so you can ohm it out quick enough if there's any issue there. In this corner right here sits the I/O board and a block of solenoids, EV valves. You see under here a majority of your tubing connects to these ports, comes right through this hole through here and goes to these tubings. Of course the EV valves are controlled by the I/O board. It sits right up here in this corner. Break. Also back in this corner sits this block of EV valves. This is kind of hard assembly to find and see, that's why I'm pointing out that it's there. Then you have all the little stations that sit in here in different spots. Hopefully I got these set up in the right spots. Again, we'll go into these independently because these are the stations to dispense your reagents and your cleaning and your mixing and all that. It's really kind of a neat unit. And just again to clarify this does stay pretty hidden back here. And of course, again, I'll repeat myself, we'd be putting in some I/O board and some modules right back there. a controller board, the microprocessor board, right into this little corner. Let's see, I think it actually goes in like this, right into this little corner. I will point out that there is a pressure gauge, strain gauge, to monitor the air that comes into the system. Okay. Next thing we're going to assemble real quickly is the barcode reader. Barcode reader comes in here like so. You can see the mirror. I don't know how well, but the mirror is right there. And this is activated by air, pneumatic signal that essentially moves. Let's see if I can move it effectively. It moves this back and forth. Okay, right there. And that's what picks up both from the slides and from the reagents. It just reflects the barcode on. And that assembly sits right in here. See if we can set that in there just for now. All right, well, just to give you an idea. On top of that, you have the upper portion. This assembly, of course, goes right on top like so. We're going to point out different little components. Here's that injector. Notice that it works off of air. This is what actually pushes the reagents into onto the slides. This is the motor that turns, it's almost exactly like the bottom one, that rotates the reagents in a circle so that the proper reagent is dispensed. You have a detector right there. And of course you have the display keyboard type board right up there. Let's take a little look at a little more in-depth look at one of those components. Essentially, this is the motor, this is the gear that your reagent tray would sit on, and of course this moves. And also, finally, there's two pinch valves that go right into here. One more set of E-valves to go in there somewhere. Okay, and these are all, of course, underneath all of this stuff. So it is somewhat hard for me to show you exactly what all these internal valves are. And some of these back valves are not that easy to get to. Thank you very much for attending this session of training on the Benchmark slide staining systems manufactured by BenchmarkSlideStainer.avi.